Welcome back to another episode of the BW View. I am here with Luis live at the studio in our offices in Washington, D.C. It's great to have you, Luis. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, good to see
Good
you
to see
again.
you.
Yeah,
This is great. So Luis is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for past 6+ months or so.
6, 7 months, somewhere
Okay.
around there. Yeah, it's been a good amount of time.
Fantastic. Great. So, I was an apprentice. Luis was an apprentice. So I'm really excited to have this discussion and just work into things. So we'll jump right into it if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
All right, great. So Luis, first question here, would love to get a little bit of background on yourself, and maybe how you found apprenticeships.
Yeah, I started at BuildWithin, like Drew said, 6 months ago. But before that, I had done a boot camp. Was it a Java boot camp? And that's where I initially like started learning like the basics of programming. But even before that, I always had interest, but I didn't know how to get into it. So I spent a couple years after high school just doing jobs. Like I worked as a barista at Starbucks, but also as a mover. And like, you know, that wasn't my passion. Plus, like being a mover, I was beating up my body, and I wanted to do something that was like that aligned with like my passion as a kid, which I was like technology and just learning, right? So, like I said, I got into the boot camp, and then I found Bill Within through the officer apprenticeship here in DC. So that's how I actually got into
It's
like
great.
apprenticeships. And I submitted my resume, and Randall Shannon, he sent out my resume to two different companies, and one of them was Bill Within. I got connected with Camilo. Camilo connected me with Lee.
Luis, I think our audience would be curious to hear a little bit about how your apprenticeship might shape your future career and what you're thinking about. Having been kind of, 6 or 7 months into this, what you see yourself getting into, and if you see yourself continuing down software development. What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely see myself as a software engineer for the not remainder of my life, but for a long time coming, because I really like building products that people use, and I'm still learning every day, but I really want to make like something that's beautiful, like something that somebody will use and be like, wow, this is amazing. I really like the UI. It's so simple. I'm still getting there, but uh, like I do want to be a software engineer for 20, 25 years. And then eventually I want to get to the point where I can actually mentor somebody else to become a software engineer if they see interest, or maybe with enough experience, make like a YouTube channel where I'm teaching people how to become a software engineer. So it's definitely shaped my career a lot.
So that sounds like a lot of fun. Taking that next step to be able to mentor and manage folks, and then maybe starting your own thing as well. That could be really fun.
Yeah, eventually I really want to get there. But I'm still at the beginning of my career, so but I have an image of what I want to be in the future. Before I didn't.
That's
I
great.
didn't know what I was gonna do. Like post boot camp, I didn't even know I wanted to be a software engineer. Like, I had some of the skills, but it was tough finding a job. So it felt like 4 months in, should I just give up, right? So the bill they gave me a chance, and now I'm here.
Yeah, we see this so often, right? Positions need 2 to 4 years of experience. How do you get those 2 years? How do you get your foot in the door, right?
Yeah,
And we're seeing apprenticeships start to ramp up and gain steam with folks that want to try something new, career change, or just, are interested in technology and want to give it a go as well.
yeah.
So Luis, I'm interested here. What has been your favorite thing about being an apprentice so far?
I really like the earning and learning aspect, because if I would have started off as an intern for about a year, I would have probably had to have a side gig, because how am I gonna live off of nothing, right? Because I mean, not every internship is unpaid, but the majority of them are. And in software engineering, from what I saw when I was applying myself, it was like 9 months, 10 months, a year of unpaid internship. So, right now I am earning, right? But also learning every single day. If a new task is assigned to me that I've never like seen or taken on, I have to Google it, uh, try to solve it. If I can't solve it, I have teammates there to support me. Um, I have AI to support me now too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's learning and learning. That's my favorite aspect.
Fantastic. And I think what's so interesting about software development and a number of these apprenticeship roles is that there's not necessarily an undergraduate degree. You really have to learn on the job in order to gain those relevant skills
Yeah.
to then utilize and turn into a valuable team member. And I think it's very true, right, for software development. Some folks go to undergrad maybe for CS. A lot of folks don't. They just learn on the job. So I'm interested how you've been able to come up to speed so quickly, because I remember, we were chatting the first couple of weeks and I think we were still coming up to speed, still learning a ton, still had a ton to learn within our apprenticeship. So anything you'd add?
The way I've been able to learn the most is asking questions. I would like personally DM some of my team members and be like, hey, how do I do this right? But like I would get on a video call and then they could explain it to me because I don't want them like just to like do it for me, right? And then if they're not available, because I don't want to always take a lot of time, I would just Google it. Um, I could spend hours on like one little task and I would say to myself, maybe I'm taking too long, but then I also have to think about like I'm at the start, right? At the start of my career. It's good to get stuck, right? Because that's how you learn, right? As soon as you finish, find the solution, um, it's with you forever, right? So yeah, Googling is a big aspect. So
That's
just
great.
reading, keeping up too. Like you can't just fall behind in software engineering. Um, my coworkers, the other engineers, they're always implementing new stuff. So we're always up to date, right?
Always innovative, right?
Always innovating, yeah. And we have our own AI, which is amazing, and it keeps on improving every day. If something new releases, my coworker Jerry's he's making sure like this our AI has it.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. I think it's a unique part about software development is that you can implement so quickly, right?
yeah,
Hardware and some other industries, right? It's more slow moving, but software you can make it in.
yeah, it's super quick. You gotta be on your toes at all times, right? Because one day, like you'll be learning something, and then the next day it's obsolete because a new version of it came out just a day ago, right?
Nice. And Luis, as we're talking about the more traditional pathway of maybe education and gaining a job after college in some level, what advantages would you say speak towards someone trying an apprenticeship?
Um, the big advantages, I would say, as the traditional pathway, especially like going to college where you do your 4 years, is a lot of times, and I know personally, like from people I know, is you could spend 4 years just like learning, the CS basics, right? But if you don't actually do an internship when you get out of college, you're gonna have so much trouble trying to find a job, especially in today's market. You can spend. I've seen like people for 6 months, a year, not being able to find a job, and you spent 4 years to like get that degree, right? You would think that it would be so easy for you, but it's not. And then you could also like follow because you're not actually like let's say you don't do an internship for 4 years, you're gonna fall behind because you don't actually know how to apply the stuff you're learning. In an apprenticeship, every day you get the stuff you learn, you're applying it. Right, you're working on real world products. You're shipping products. You're showing it to the clients. It's live. It's out on the internet. It's somewhere. So I think that's a big aspect of why apprenticeships are so useful. And also like you have to explain to people what an apprenticeship is because a lot of people think it's just like engineering, like having an engineering degree or electrical stuff. No, it could be anything, honestly. You could be an apprentice for anything. And it's a growing field here in the US, of course, right? It's um like in the UK, I know they're really big on apprenticeships. Um, but here in the US, they haven't really adopted the model, especially like what I'm doing, the software engineering, it's relatively new. So like I'd say 1 or 2 years old. So you have to educate people what exactly an apprenticeship is. There's a structured like way of learning on the job, uh, and you're basically a full-time employee. That's apprenticeship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like an internship, you have your own little side tasks to do, right? Sometimes like the main team is working like on the big product, but the intern is working on these little projects that like, get them up to speed, right? But one internship sometimes it's like 3 months. So and it's over, right?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes you get hired full time, right? Sometimes you don't. As an apprentice, like you are kind of like a full-time employee, you have all the benefits. You're part of every team meeting. Like sometimes I even forget, like I know I'm an apprentice, but sometimes I feel like I'm just a full-time employee of BuildWithin, right? Because like, I'm there every day.
Yeah. So the ability to contribute from day one within a team and not contributing to some side project that might not be as meaningful.
Yeah,
I
like
think it
it's gonna
sounds like
grow
it's
your
huge.
skills, but you know, it's not a real world project.
Right.
Eventually, like you'll get there. But I think it's better just to like work on something that's production ready, right? Like even if it's the tiniest thing, like you could just change the text in like the page, right? But that's still something like somebody will notice eventually, right? Like, oh, that's a mistake. That's a mistake right there, right?
Yeah.
And then knowing like you have to, it's not as simple as just changing like the text. Like you have to learn other technologies to get there. You have to learn GitHub, right?
Yeah.
Git, how to use like VS Code. Those are different skills that you require. They're not as difficult as software engineering, but it's not like just changing it and it'll do it right away. So
Sure. And Luis, it's been fun because we've shared some great memories over the last 6, 7 months together. Done some product launches together, done a lot of fun things. And one story that sticks out for me is that you were on a project where the client asked for you to add to the bottom of the website that this website was created by an apprentice.
yeah,
And that stuck with me. I thought that was pretty cool.
it's up with me too, because the website is for apprentices too. So I think it's kind of inspirational if you actually like, it's at the very bottom, but still like if you happen to scroll there, you see like this website was created or worked on by an apprentice. I think it's nice to see because you see like the hard work an apprentice can, what the hard work that pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any other fun memories or memories that you are fond of over the last half a year or so?
One that really stuck with me, which was a couple of months ago, I worked with a client to build an application. And that application was seen by, I guess, thousands of people, and thousands of people applied. And I was actually able to go to where the client is located and meet some of the people that applied. And just seeing that big room of diverse people with, they were like like-minded. I remember one table I visited, right, really stuck out because they were like, we want to open a business together, right? And I was like, wow, like this is amazing. How long have we known each other? And oh, we met yesterday. So in one day they were like already making connections and
That's great.
just hearing everybody's stories, like I want to be this, I want to be that. There was a couple people that asked me, like how do I get started as a software engineer? And I told them like, try to do a boot camp or self-learning, it takes a little bit longer, right? And then just start looking at apprenticeships. If an internship is paid, try looking at an internship. But I don't recommend working for free for too long. But yeah, that really stuck out. I always think about that. I have the name tag of when I was there in my drawer. I occasionally look at it, and I actually worked with them again recently to create a second version of the application. So yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah.
Valuable experience that you can put on your resume, that you can talk about in interviews. I think it's just incredible experience and fun to see you learn across that client and really deliver something that was super valuable.
Yep. Yeah. Amazing, amazing experience actually. Like when I was in the moment, I was like 2 months in, so I was a little bit stressed out because there was a lot to do and a lot I didn't know. But when the time came to actually like be there in person with like the other apprentices in the room, it was all worth it. And I gained a lot of skills from that. And I think it really pushed me too, because the first 2 months of my apprenticeship, I was on like smaller tasks with it. And then that happened, and it was a barrage of like different tasks from, it was a lot of like accessibility, right, which is very important. You have to make sure everybody can use your platform, your technology. And I didn't know a single thing about accessibility. So there, I learned so much. So it was worth it, both in the sense of like accomplishment, but also like I gained skills.
Luis, I'd like to leave the folks that are listening in here with one piece of advice from you to an apprentice who's looking for a position, who doesn't know much about apprenticeships, that wants to give it a go, needs the opportunity, wants the opportunity. What would you say to that person?
I would say first do your research, right? About the position, and then start looking into your local like apprenticeship office, and then start applying, and then give it a try. Like even if it's something like you're uncomfortable with, and you think you're not gonna like in the future, you never know. Like I, I mean, I knew I was gonna like software engineering, but like even if I didn't, I would still give it a go. Because it's like, it's something exciting, right? Because like you really have to be on your toes, and I just like you're solving problems, right? Like not like mathematical problems, but you're solving issues with your own like code sometimes, right? Like you make a mistake and you gotta correct it. Um, and then sometimes somebody else will find it and you have to correct it. But I would just say just give it a go. Like guys, I know it's very simple, but just try it. Um, and this is like a message like if my family would come across same thing, just try it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good advice, Luis. Give it a go, see what happens.
See what happens. If you don't like it, just try a different apprenticeship.
Yeah,
Uh,
try another thing.
There's a bunch of fields in apprenticeships, and like I said, it's a growing field. So eventually, like maybe there'll be an apprenticeship or something that you love, right? That'll line up with your passion. But even if it's not that, like even if it interests you a little bit, just give it a go.
Good advice from Luis. I think we'll wrap up there. Thank you for joining us, Luis. It was great to
Yeah,
have you.
it's great to see you again. Great to see everybody. Yeah.
Good to have you in the office. I'm sure we'll talk throughout the day, but for those who are listening in, thank you for joining us on another episode of the BW View. You are listening to Luis and Drew chat about apprenticeships and how valuable they have been for us in our personal experiences, and certainly moving forward. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
A good one.